My name is Kunal Nakra, that's my full name. I've been the head of the Marine Safety Investigation Branch of the Transport Safety Investigation Bureau of Singapore, which was formed about 6 years ago, working together with the aviation side. So we are multimodal, like the ATSB in Australia or the NTSB in the United States. I've also been the chairman of the Casualty Analysis Working Group at the IMO's III subcommittee since 2017. And that's, for those of you, your audience would like to know, is a subcommittee which looks at accident investigations and why certain regulations need to be recommended for improvement. And that's where I chair a group of experts and we look at trends. Prior to this, I was a flag state inspection auditor with the NPA. And then I was tasked to set up the branch. So 6 years and counting. If I can summarize it in one phrase, it matters because it matters. There is absolutely no way the world can survive without maritime. I mean, you and I know it. I'm pretty sure more than 90% of our audience will recognize that why we all know that maritime matters. And I think that's linked to the point where we really need to ensure that the maritime industry is not seen as an industry which just pollutes the oceans or causes accidents or blocks Suez Canal. That's not what the industry is. I mean, if you look at how the industry has evolved, we've really come a long way. I was delivering a keynote address to the World Maritime University, and one of the topic that I spoke about is that that's my take on it, and I should copyright it perhaps, that we are deemed as the poorer cousin of aviation, despite inventing the knots. And come to think of it, it's actually food for thought. Why have we are being deemed as not being fast forward thinking enough? It's just that the industry is so complex, but it is important. And that's linking to your earlier question about why safety investigation matters. So investigations have been the stick with which everybody tries to get things done. But I think from a safety investigation point of view, ask me my personal opinion, we really need to look inwards and say that why are we trying to investigate? Because we really want to find out what is it that not just contributed, what was going on? I mean, if you drill down deep enough, do we have that understanding of why certain accidents really have happened? That's what we try to do. So we're not perfect. I mean, we've been 6 years doing this, and I can tell you, we are far from a perfect report. There is no such thing as a perfect report yet. And I'm hoping that when we reach that stage, life would have come a full circle. We would have really said, yes, maritime matters because we've actually made a difference. The maritime industry did phenomenally well, despite what the pandemic brought about. Our work naturally involves interacting with the crew. Not one, not two, all of them, talking to them about an accident, trying to understand, sitting in a close proximity. So when the risk of our investigators coming into contact with the crew, who we really don't know what kind of a historical medical situation they're coming from or which port they're visited. So that puts a bit of challenge for us to decide what are we going to get out of that one-to-one interaction, which we cannot get otherwise. So that required us to do a bit of reinventing of a process. So naturally, like the whole world shifted to remote meetings, we also jumped on the bandwagon. That's a good starting point. Imagine, I mean, in today's day and age, we are talking about 4G and 5G, and the seafarer doesn't even have access to a proper internet. I mean, that itself is telling, right? It's like, why are we missing that big point? I mean, we as in the industry, we really need to look at it from a different lens, I suppose. That's a very good question. I think it's as humans, we tend to find sadness in problems. I think if we flip the coin and find happiness in successes, I really think what you're doing is phenomenal with getting the industry to understand different perspectives. I would really think that at some point, a holistic view of these thoughts can be captured somehow and then put it out there and invite the seafarers to actually take a look at this holistic viewpoint and say, okay, what do you resonate with? I'm hopeful that we continue in this industry to keep talking about this and come to a consensus and common goal to make things work.